Yo, everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. And welcome back to the Premier League Countdown. Today I'm joined by Lewis. How you doing, Lewis?
Oh, great to make my debut, man. Big up, bro. Shout out everyone watching as well. Big up. You guys already know, hit likes and all of that. Yeah, and we're
Yeah, man.
about 2 weeks, 3 weeks off the start of the season. Back to the
Yeah.
grind and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, guys, the countdown starts now. We are 87 away from 500 subscribers as we're recording this on a Tuesday. So as soon as we get there, the better, man. And we're trying to hit it before the end of the year. We might be hitting it before the end of next month. That's how fast
Oh,
we've
we
got. That's
will.
all thanks to you lot,
We
man.
will. Make sure of
We'll
that.
be there. We'll be there. But obviously, we preview every Premier League team each day. And Lewis, how have you found the transfer business so far? Like, well, you obviously keen to Dewsbury Hall. Obviously, you've got a couple youngsters in as well. You've obviously got the goalkeeper coming in, tossing around a buyer with a free, etc. How you found the transfer window so far?
Um, I say quiet, but I mean quiet more by Chelsea circumstances. Like, some clubs will think this is still a bit of a crazy window by what they usually do on a yearly basis. But yeah, it's been relatively quiet for our standards. It's been quietly underwhelming. I say quietly only because that will still be defined by what they do at the start of the season or how they impact the full season. But as of now, like, we're still waiting on the marquee striker signing, still waiting on a left winger. We have brought in a goalkeeper. We might be looking at two goalkeepers, but we haven't seen anything of Jorgensen to judge him. I'm just assuming that he's going to be one of the best goalkeepers in the league, because if he isn't, why the hell did we buy him?
Yeah,
Um, Same thing with Tosin. Like, have to see what he brings before you judge him. Same thing with PU. Dewsbury Hall should be a good signing. It's just we already have a lot of midfield options, so I don't know if it's a bar raiser or not. So it's all up in the air. So I'd say only quietly underwhelming, but even then, that's for now. We've heard the Osimhen links are now starting to take a lot more shape. So if that transfer was to go through, that changes the entire outlook on this window. So for now, a bit quiet. For now, a bit underwhelming, but it's not terrible and it's not really a disaster class either.
yeah. I think the Dewsbury Hall signing might go under the radar a bit, like just because like I watch a lot of Championship football. Like last season at the Maresca, like he was the key. He was the main man pretty much of that Leicester team. Like down that left eight row, you're just making third man runs and just making that team balance. Like without him, they wouldn't have. They might not even got automatic promotion in my opinion. Like I feel like when they were struggling at the back end of the season, he was grabbing the games by a lot, scruffing the neck and stuff. Now it is the Championship, but obviously with your midfield. I feel like he's going to pretty much go under the radar. He might even start more games than people think, like down that left eight row. If he can, because Maresca already will trust him from his Leicester days. And obviously, you got Fernandez coming back from an international duty. Obviously, Caicedo's come back. Lavia, we don't know about his fitness and whether he can get fully fit and stuff like that, whether he can do a whole season. But, like, do you,
But
do
my
you
thing with
think.
the midfield is like I don't really know where he fits, especially with the rumors now of Cole Palmer potentially being used centrally. There's been talks of Nkunku potentially being used centrally. We already have Enzo and Caicedo who are already going to be like guaranteed starters, and there's even Lavia. So I'm not even trying to write that off. I'm just interested to see like what is our final strongest 11 going to look like, because as it stands now, Dewsbury Hall looks like a guy who's just going to cook in the Conference League. And again, not a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. Just more strength in that competition, even though we should be walking it anyway. But don't really know where he fits into our strongest 11. But he could improve the quality of the squad as a whole, even if he isn't a main starter. It could just be strength in depth, which isn't a bad thing too.
Yeah, I think judging from those Cole Palmer reports as well, I feel like he's going to be tried in obviously both positions. But I think he might even start out in the middle, and then your manager might think, okay, maybe my wingers aren't really doing enough down the right hand side, and he might just be pushed out to the right eventually anyway. If you guys don't sign another winger, like obviously you guys lost to Celtic the other day. I was actually in the Discord watching that, just silently hate watching. But Madweke
You
and
got a great night out of that.
then we lost later on, so it's fine. But we got the
Oh,
same
don't look
treatment by Wolves. Yeah, but both our fan base obviously rioting on Twitter after a preseason loss because that means everything.
Fact.
And obviously Madueke came into criticism. Mudryk has come into criticism. Like, do you think you have good enough wingers to get like the top four, or what do you think?
I mean, if we're counting Palmer as the wingers,
Mm,
yes, on the right hand side, because I do rate Noni. Like, I don't
yeah,
even think he's had a terrible preseason. Just the end product really needs to improve. But at the
mm,
very least, he's getting the take on sorted. So that gives
yeah,
me at least a little bit of like, you're showing me something. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt of it being preseason because I've seen you like do well in terms of your end product in other games. So yeah, Noni, I'm not really that worried. My biggest focus is Mudryk and Sterling, if anything.
yeah,
Sterling might do well with it being a possession-based system. It might bring some similarities to his time at Man City, but he ultimately just always seems to frustrate you when he's on the pitch. Mudryk, make or break season for the kid. If you
mm,
can't make a name for yourself this season, I give up. Give up personally
yeah,
because like, it comes to a point where you've had enough time. You should have enough minutes. It's not going to be one game a week. So even worst case scenario, you'll get given the Conference League. If you can't make a name for yourself this season, where's the excuses? There
yeah.
isn't any. Injuries are the only thing that could potentially give him another year. And I don't even want to talk that into existence. So my worry is more the left side, if anything. The right side, I'm relatively confident about. And even if this year's a dud, Esteval joins the year after. So it should be okay.
You reckon Nicholas Jackson's an option on the left if Osimhen comes in, or another striker might come in?
Maybe. But I quietly feel like Nkunku could be an option too there. So
Mm,
I don't know. But that's more of a good headache. Because I trust
yeah,
Jackson, I trust Nkunku. If Oshimen joins, I mean, it's Oshimen. And Palmer will
yeah,
just take the right-hand side or Noni. So, yeah, like even up top, like, I want the bagsman. But if you're telling me I'm walking into the season with Jackson and Nkunku as my striker options, I'm not really crying about that. It's just I
yeah,
could see us in a better position, but that's not really a bad one. Jackson could improve. He got like 18 non-penalty goals in all competitions last season. That's his first league season. Who's to say he doesn't build on that in his second season? And Kunku is just a brilliant goal scorer. In the box, he knows where to be, and he don't waste any time. He don't overtouch anything. He's just burying it. So, striker, I'm comfortable with, but I do believe we can improve. Left wing, that's a real question mark.
So overall, would you say your expectations is top four in the Conference League?
Yep. Yep. And maybe go for another domestic, but luck of the draw and everything. If you face
Yeah,
Liverpool or City, it might be a different question. But Conference League, no questions, no ifs, no buts. I'll be annoyed if we even lose a game in that. I want us to be going unbeaten in the Conference League. This
yeah,
is literally where it's like, remember who you are. I've seen
mm,
people say, oh, but that's the reason why we're not accepting a 4-1 loss to Celtic. Listen, it's a pre-season friendly. Get in the bin with that. That will be when the season starts. Everyone's sharp, everyone's fit, and everyone understands the system a lot better. You go and win the Conference League because you're playing a bunch of bums. Even Celtic aren't in the Conference League because their level's better than that. So miss me with that. Oh, that's why we're not accepting a loss to Celtic in a pre-season game. We're not facing even that level of opposition. So
yeah. Yeah,
should be.
I don't know what's happened to, like, and this is obviously just Twitter people on Twitter, like this culture of judging preseason games, because preseason literally a bunch of new players, fringe players, youngsters, a new system at times, depending on if you've got a new manager or not, and players coming back at different times. And you're coming up against teams that are not on the same schedule as you when it comes to preseason. Like Celtic are ahead of their schedule. Our first game in preseason was a Hungarian team that were 4 games in that start the season this week. And that was our first game, and we drew 2-2. But people were crying because those were the boys in lovers and all that. But people online are just a bit weird. Like when it comes to preseason stuff, like before, like everyone was heavy into social media. I don't think anyone was really talking about preseason that much. But
I've
we
only
just
been annoyed that one pre-season lost, and that's when we got battered 4-0 against Arsenal under
mm,
Tuchel. And that
oh
was
yeah,
literally just because it was Arsenal.
mm,
If it was
yeah.
any other team, like I would have been a lot more objective about it. It's only because of the tribalism.
Mm. Like last season, preseason from a West Ham point of view, like we got battered by Leverkusen, and I didn't know how good Leverkusen were going to be, but we got
Mm.
absolutely slaughtered. And what annoyed me most about it was I saw the mentality from the manager. Then we were getting battered in the first half. We was in the four at the back, and the manager decides to put an extra defender at half time. that summed up the whole mentality from the season, because he did the exact same thing when we got battered by Fulham. He put an extra defender on to go to a 5.
I was like,
So,
Poch,
yep.
3-0 down at the Emirates. Let me wheel out Trevor Chalobah. That'll help
Yeah,
solve things. 5-0
exactly.
down. Silva. Come on out, mate. Time for
Mm.
you to come out. Drop the Zimmer frame. We need you.
Exactly. Like, legit,
Lose the
I remember.
managers, man.
Well, watching Chelsea last season was a bit like watching West Ham a little bit, just from the similarities of the way Conor Gallagher was used would be the same way we use a Souček or Ward-Prowse. Gallagher on left wing, I always would put Ward-Prowse on the left wing as well. When has Ward-Prowse ever played left wing? Never. But he's 30 years old, slow as fuck, so put him on the left wing. Why not? It's just extra midfielder vibes and all that. Ben Johnson's played left wing. Ben Johnson, a right back who's not good at anything, has played left wing. Got battered by Arsenal 6-0 when he played left wing. Declan Rice dunked on our head, so I'll never forgive Moyes for that, even though he won us a trophy. Like, it was literally like watching the exact same team. But with the people that are upset about Pochettino going, like, what was your thoughts on Pochettino going? Like, was it the right decision? I know your thoughts already.
Should have left earlier. Earlier. I understand why Clear Lake decided to keep him for the season, because they were literally just saving face. But we could have ended the season on fourth in a Carabao Cup if we had moved early, or just not even hired him in the first place and got the possession-based manager that you wanted to have. Instead, they had an idea of possession-based football and they gave it to a press merchant. Injuries left, right, and centre. Awful second halves. Worst defensive structure I've ever seen, and the worst goals conceded I've seen in Premier League history. Glad he's gone. Maresca, I refuse to believe is worse than Poch unless I'm given 4 months of solid evidence to prove that. Same thing with Pochettino. But for me, worst manager in my lifetime as a Chelsea fan. And I hope he stays that way, because I don't want to see a worse one.
Yeah, but all the Chelsea fans I've spoken to pretty much said the same thing, like outside of YouTube and inside of YouTube.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Most of the Chelsea fans I talk to are still crying about him.
Even like my friends outside of YouTube that support Chelsea were like, as much as I don't want to see another manager get sacked, he doesn't have any leg to stand on at all. Like, even people that I know that never ever want manager sacked were like, this guy's got to go. Like, he reached to an extent where no Chelsea fan that I knew was like, they wouldn't had anything to, like, good to say about him, really. Like, with Maresca coming in now, what was your initial thoughts on the appointment?
I was a bit iffy about it, just based off the lack of experience. But I mean, he's here now. He's had a system that works. I have players that I believe in, and I believe he can improve. So it remains to be seen, and it's still early days, because there's not really a lot to go off. He's been surrounded by winning both at City and at Leicester, so I hope he can bring the same thing to Chelsea. I hope he can implement his system as quickly as possible, but still early days. All I can say is better than Pochettino. But that's a very low bar.
That's a very low bar. But also, speaking of people leaving and stuff, like Conor Gallagher, it's been reported as of today that Atletico Madrid are now in direct talks with Chelsea for Conor Gallagher, 35 million euros / 40 million euros. More than happy then to see him go.
Yep. Get me my money. Because that brother is not good enough. And now we're playing possession-based football. He's even more useless than before. So, yeah, like, even though we have had our pressing problems, people say, oh, we need Gallagher back for that. No, because he'll lose the ball as quickly as he wins it. He'll suit a Simeone perfectly. And all the best luck to him over there, because he's not our rival. But here, nah, he's mid. He's mid. I'm glad he's gone, personally. Or I'm glad he's going.
Like, what would be, obviously, expectation top 4 in a trophy? What positions do Chelsea need to address to get to top 4?
Left wing, striker. Everywhere else you've already strengthened now. So it's all about just getting the best out of the players. Otherwise, you bought the wrong players. But yeah, just those 2 positions. I know some people say goalkeeper, but we just bought a number 1 now. I'm expecting him to be one of the best. So that should be sorted. I shouldn't be worrying about goalkeeper anymore. So just them 2 positions.
And even that left back, was it a left back from Basel you guys signed? You reckon he will come straight to the first team, like above Chilwell?
Yeah, Conference League minutes for him.
Yeah.
That guy's one of them Swiss Army knife type players. He can play midfield, he can play centre back, he can play left back. So just overall depth.
Yeah, that suits the way Maresca plays as well with the three in possession and stuff. Obviously, well, like Colwell was playing there, but I'm assuming that's going to be the long term vision for Cucurella and that signing that came in as well. Like it says, it does speak a lot of volume. The fact that Ben Chilwell didn't get a minute against Celtic. You reckon the Maresca is just not in his plans then?
Yeah, done with him. Done with him. He only went on the tour because Cucurella ain't coming on. He's got to stay at Cobham because of the Euros and everything. So we need 2 left backs, which is why Chilwell got dragged out. If Cucurella was joining, he'd be left at Cobham with Gallagher and with Chalobah and all them, man.
Oh yeah, so he doesn't have to travel like mid preseason, pretty much.
No, just like you stay fit, we wait for an offer, and then you're off.
Oh right. Okay, no, that makes sense. All right. My last question, I've got to talk about this just because more news has come out about it today. The Enzo Fernandez situation. Obviously, Reece James and Disasi seem to be the key people to be sweeping that under. Well, not sweeping it under the rug, but like trying to deal with it internally and stuff. Where do you reckon it goes from here? How much effect does it have to the dressing room? And do you reckon that people are just going to keep professional and just move on, or do you reckon it'll bubble on?
I mean, it sounds like it's sorted. Does still feel like it's a bit early days, but
yeah.
I mean, it sounds like he's made an apology. Maybe they are moving on. Like, I still think it's a bit too early to get to that conclusion because we ain't even seen anything of Enzo in training or anything like that. We don't even know if there's more to come in terms of like a statement to the fans or something like that. But I guess he's trying to solve the situation, which is cool. I want to see a statement or something. I want to see you actually come out and denounce the chant yourself, because to me, that would be progressive, because the whole nation's coming out to defend the chant. If you want to actively go against that, even if you haven't said it and it's come out in like a written statement, you've put your name on that and you've allowed that to go worldwide. That says something to me. For now, I guess he's doing what he has to do, but don't make a lot of change to me personally.
Yeah.
Because like, if that apologies to teammates, I mean, cool. But I still want to see something personally sent out to the fans, and more than that BS PR statement. But I mean, we'll see. Still early days. I don't think the whole situation's over and done with, but I guess he's made an apology to individuals, and good.
Yeah, because I guess we've seen it a lot in football before, where we've seen players and teammates play with other teammates and they don't particularly like or don't particularly get on with, but they still play with them and they still remain professional, etc. And that might be the same thing within Chelsea. Like you might see them in training pictures, like all smiley and stuff, but like in general, they might not still get along, but they're still going to just get on with it because they're all part of, Maresca's plans and stuff and stuff like that. We've seen it before. Maybe not to this extent with this big of an issue. Like before, it's just been internal conflicts between teammates and stuff. And I never bought into the fact
gone as public as Fofana, but that's why I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting in the future to see about this chant as well, because it's so normalized in Argentina to do this chant anyway since the chant was created, and this isn't the first time they've done it. So if this was to happen again, I don't know whether there's going to be a situation whether they keep doing this chant, but it's all off camera and stuff. There's no way this doesn't get caught on camera with the amount of times players like using their phones and stuff or etc. That, or they don't sing it with the fans at the end of the game. Or
yeah. I've already written off the whole Argentina squad anyway. But I mean, Enzo Fernandez has a chance to at least stand up against it, and we'll see what he does.
Yeah. Also, in a way, he kind of had to, because he was kind of like not thrown under the bus, but it's like you're the only one that's been fully identified because it was your phone and your social media. Like McAllister came out with a quote to defending him, and it was a ridiculous quote. Like the more you read onto it, Alvarez was next to him. Romero, Martinez was there. Well, both of the Martinez's, the Man United one and Aston Villa. So they were all there, but he was kind of the face of it. So that's the only reason why he's pretty much come out with a statement. Pretty much like none of them, everyone else is even defending it, or they just haven't been brought up on it. Really, it's kind of ridiculous in a way.
Like I've seen a lot of that from a lot of rival fans, if anything, but I feel like a lot of people have shown their arse over the last month, because like racism's racism until it impacts your football club. And as soon as it impacts the football club, you just want it swept under the carpet and forgotten about because it's an embarrassing situation overall.
Yeah,
that just shows the world we're in.
Yeah, it's kind of, I know obviously the online world doesn't represent the whole world, etc. But it's it is still telling. It is still telling with certain people and certain characters that they can't separate a football issue and a real world issue, etc. But that is where it is, I guess. But I'm going to end it there. Thank you for coming on, Lewis. Big up to everyone watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are new. Go to Sub to Lewis's channel if you haven't already. And yeah, the social medias were in the description for everyone. Go and follow and email for the inquiries and stuff. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.